So once you submit your draft for peer review for Writing Project 1, then you will submit the same file, most likely. Save your Writing Project 1 as a PDF and upload it here. Come back in 10 minutes to review the similarity check. If you have a 1% score or higher, then you are to open your document, click on the red and white box to see your similar passages and their sources. So the red and white box, if you are looking on your screen, the red and white box is going to be in the upper right corner and it's going to have a number in it. So if you see 1 or 20 or whatever, any number other than 0, then you want to click on that box, and then you will see in the middle of your screen will be your own document that you uploaded, and any similar passages are going to be highlighted, one color if it's only one source, or multiple colors if there are multiple sources that have similar passages. And when you look to the right panel on that same page, you're going to be able to click and see a list of sources that have been identified as having similar items. And you can usually open those sources if they are published material. If the similarities are similar to student papers, then it will indicate what institution those papers were submitted to. And I can tell you that, generally speaking, if you have a similarity to another student paper and it's a short passage, to me that means that you probably used the same source and you probably paraphrased it the same way. And that's not necessarily plagiarism. Sometimes that's just what I call an incidental similarity, and so I don't worry about those things. But I look at everything to see what the computer has identified and why. And I actually use this similarity check as a teaching tool, if you like. It shows you, if you get a score of 1% or higher, you will be able to see how a computer reads a document, because all a computer can do is find matches. You know, Sesame Street. Some of these things are like some of these other things. This thing is not like the others. It's the only way that a computer reads. And you may want to know that because sometimes computers are used. Computer programs are written for the purpose of reading documents, so you may want to know their capabilities. Okay. All right, so if you find that you have similar passages, then you want to know what those similar passages are. So you'll want to review your document and see what's there. And a lot of times, you know, you may see something marked as a similar passage, and maybe it's just like an organization title that's really, really long. Well, you have to use the title of the organization, or the title of the book, or whatever. And so those are obviously, those are not instances of plagiarism either. I've even had students, if they have a very, very common name, their name might be highlighted as something that is similar to something else because it's the name of some other author who's written other things. Okay, but you want to see what they are, and if there's anything that looks like an instance of plagiarism, then you want to go back and you want to work on your paraphrasing skills, which is to say, if you have paraphrased whole sentences in your own words, and what's sticking out is a group of 3 words somewhere, but you like it, well then the fix to that is simply to put quotation marks around that group of 3 words. However, if you've got a whole paragraph that's similar with maybe just 1 or 2 words not marked, well, that is not paraphrasing, that is actually plagiarism. So that you're going to have to figure out, that you're going to have to reword, summarize in your own words, paraphrase in your own words. Paraphrasing doesn't mean just changing out a word or two here or there. Paraphrasing, usually what that means is not just making everything into your own words. It also means changing the structures of the sentences. moving things around and making them fit into your particular writing much more eloquently than whole chunks of paragraphs would. If you like, you can't, well, you could hole out a pie and stick a hamburger in the middle of it. You want to instead make it clean and smooth. And the only way to do that is to write it yourself. Okay, so that's your similarity check. And so you will complete the uploading of your draft and your similarity check on Tuesday. And then on Thursday, you will come back to the peer review location, just like a discussion section. And you will use these peer review questions to review your partner's work by Thursday evening. And then you'll have another day, Friday, to complete your writing project 1 and submit it by 9 p.m. And these are the grading criteria for the writing project 1. The quality of the definition, the quality of the description, the organization, and the writing style. So, for definition, the ratings are actually for everything. Top rating, full points are for the sophisticated category. And this works this way. Sophisticated is A+. Effective is B. Functional is the equivalent of a C. Semi-functional is the equivalent of a D. Non-functional is the equivalent of an F. And the only way you can go below that is if you have plagiarism or you've submitted something that is just really not conceivably addressing the prompt, not conceivably fitting the situation for the assignment. But other than that, you can get at least some points here. So, and these points are this way. Sophisticated, full points, that's 100%. Effective is 85%, functional is 75%, semi-functional is 65%, and non-functional is 55%. So it works out like grades, but I like these word choices because I think that they communicate better than just grade levels do. So what is a sophisticated definition? A definition brings technical understanding to reading audiences who are unfamiliar with the special uses of terms. So your definition, it shouldn't just work for, if you're a mechanical engineering student, it shouldn't just work for other people who are engineering students. It should work for people who are humanities majors, who are biology majors. It should work for different people in different fields. So a definition brings technical understanding to reading audiences who are unfamiliar with the special uses of terms. You wouldn't need to define these technical terms for other people who are engineers if you're an engineer, right? You would need to bring in these terms for people who don't belong to your club. A sophisticated use of definition is one that defines a highly appropriate term in an original and highly effective way. So this is not a dictionary definition. It's lively. It creates interest. It helps people think with you. It's a definition that sticks with readers, among other things. It's easy for them to remember. It's sharp. Okay, so that's a sophisticated definition, and that's the way to get full marks for this criterion. Second criterion is description. A description gives readers a clear picture or a strong understanding of something that would otherwise be unfamiliar to them. So, picture, right? You need imagery for description. A sophisticated description has vivid imagery. And it uses comparisons to at least one very familiar thing. Let's say you are talking about a piece of mechanical equipment. I remember reading this in an essay a long time ago. It's actually not mechanical equipment. What was it? It was a description of a cave in Oaxaca, like 1,000 feet below the surface. So most people would not be familiar with that particular cave because not many of us dive that deep. Okay, so what did the author do to describe this very unfamiliar thing? I believe the description was a piece of plumbing that everybody sees under their sink. Was it a J-trap? I think it was a J-trap. You've seen it. Open the cabinets below your bathroom sink and you'll see it dangling right there. And that was actually a really sweet description of the shape of a cave that this group was spelunking, that readers obviously could not see, except that the author gave a very familiar thing, a household item, to aid in the descriptions, so we could all see it because we've all looked under our sink at some point or another. The result should be that readers without prior knowledge can mentally visualize the item or the procedure very clearly, perhaps to the point of being able to map it or draw it themselves. Okay, and you can test this, right? Surely you have friends or family members who you try to explain your major to them and they just shake their heads or they nod and they go, yeah, shall we get coffee? Write for those people and have those people read what you've written. And if they can map it out or draw it themselves, actually test that, because otherwise they'll just nod and say, oh yeah, that's fine, let's go have coffee. No, see if they can draw it. And that will be a really good test as to whether or not your description works. Okay. Third criteria is organization. A sophisticated organization follows the recommendations of Chapter 7 for ABC organization. In addition, the abstract prepares readers well. The body and its paragraphs are top down, and the conclusion reminds readers of the purpose. Okay. Writing style. A sophisticated technical writing style is at once cordial and purposeful. It is densely written and clear. A sophisticated technical writing style calls no attention to itself, because it is the kind of writing we encounter every day without once asking ourselves, who wrote this? The individual character is completely eclipsed by the audience's need to know. So that's sophisticated writing for technical writing. Okay? Have at it.